Top 10 different Reddit stories.
Cops. What's the most bullshit-sounding excuse you got that actually turned out to be true? Former police officer here, we have quite a few cases when the weird excuse comes out to be true. But the most hilarious one was one day, we got called over to a possible case of domestic violence where the people around the house could hear a lady scream. We arrive at the house and the guy opened wearing only underwear. He told us he and his wife were role-playing. Of course, we didn't trust this and asked to see his wife. After denying us entry, we told we would come back with a warrant. He reluctantly agreed to let us enter. So we go in, and he opened the basement door, and inside was a freakiest sex dungeon. I mean, chains, whips, things I couldn't identify hanging on the wall, and in the middle, hanging inside, was his butt-naked, gagged wife. We asked her, but she told everything was okay. Turned out they were really into some kinky stuff. Asked them to keep the screaming part in the basement and do a minimal. We did the whole thing with a straight face, but as soon as we were in the car, we died laughing. Divorced men. What moment made you I am filing for a divorce? 15 years in, and I find texts on her phone completely blindsided. No clue she had it in her to cheat. Told me it was just texting. Begged for forgiveness. I caved. Then I found emails. She detailed things that made me sick to read. Then I found out she was visiting their nurse service, and this guy was a client. Promise she was done. Love me. You see? No chance she was going to let 15 years go like that. I wasn't buying it anymore, though. She announced she was going out one night with a work friend. Promised she'd be home by night. She wasn't bright enough to understand that Google Latitude was still showing me where she was. Once I knew where she headed, I called her dad and my best friend to keep me from doing anything dumb. My father-in-law offered to stay with the kids and wait for her to get home around 3 a.m. She sent me a nasty text asking where the fuck I thought I was. I texted her a screenshot of her little GPS stuff and let her know I'd be sending her some paperwork soon.
A woman is having an affair during the day while her husband is at work. Her 9-year-old son comes home unexpectedly, sees them, and hides in the bedroom closet to watch. The woman's husband also comes home. She puts her lover in the closet, not realizing that the little boy is in there already. The little boy says, "It's dark in here." The man says, "Yes, it is. I have a baseball. That's nice. Want to buy it?" "No, thanks. My dad's outside." "Okay, how much?" $250. In the next few weeks, it happens again that the boy and the lover are in the closet together. "It is dark in here." "Yes, it is. I have a baseball glove." The lover, remembering the last time, asks the boy, "How much?" $750. "Fine." A few days later, the father says to the boy, "Grab your glove. Let's go outside and have a game of catch." The boy says, "I can't. I sold my baseball and my glove." The father asks, "How much did you sell them for?" $1,000. The father says, "That's terrible to overcharge your friends like that. That is way more than those two things cost. I'm going to take you to church and make you confess." They go to the church, and the father makes the little boy sit in the confession booth, and he closes the door. The boy says, "It's dark in here." The priest says, "Don't start that crap again."
Girls, what are the unwritten rules of the girl code that us guys don't know of? Girls help other girls get away from guys. This one time, some super creepster guy was following me around, so I just walked up to a random woman and said, "Oh my gosh, I've been looking for you everywhere." And I gave her the look. She looked behind me, half hugged me, and whispered, "That guy in the red." Then we fake friend walked around to find her giant biker boyfriend. They walked me to my car and everything. If a woman asks you for menstrual products and you have a spare, you give one to her. Doesn't matter if she's your worst enemy or a stranger in a bathroom rest stop, you hand over a spare pad tampon. If you notice that someone has bled through their pants, tell them. Even if you hate each other, even if you're strangers, lower your voice and let them know. If you see your fellow girlfriend drunk and getting hit on by a bunch of guys, don't leave her there. Help her if she's not with someone trusted. If she's considering buying something, be it clothes, a haircut, or whatever, give her honest but not mean advice.
Steve dies and goes to heaven, where St. Peter informs him that he'll have to share apartment with someone else. "You see, it's getting a bit crowded up here," St. Peter explains. "What kind of roommate will I get?" Steve asks. "A gentleman from 14th century Mexico." "Medieval Mexico?" Steve exclaims. "But I'm from 21st century Britain. We'll have nothing in common." "I'm sure you'll find something to talk about if you try," says St. Peter. So Steve is shown to his heavenly home and is introduced to a shy, skinny fellow whom he's supposed to share it with. "So what did you work as?" asks Steve. "Peasant," says the Mexican. "How was that?" "Hard. I was a web designer." "What's that?" "I don't know how to explain it to you. Sorry." "Did you have hobbies?" "Mine was old cars." "I don't understand." Thus the conversation continues, both men struggling to keep it going, both fearing an eternity of awkwardness. Then the Mexican asks, "How did you die?" "Well," Steve hesitates. "To be honest, I died because my life had become too difficult for me to handle." "Why had it become so difficult?" "I fell for a pyramid scheme. You see, my heart was stolen by someone who only wanted to use me." The Mexican beams with relief. "What a coincidence."
What were you taught incorrectly when you were a child? I was never taught proper hygiene. My mother was an aloof alcoholic. I rarely took showers between 7 and 16. I knew nothing about the proper care of my body, especially after puberty hit when I was 14. For example, I went years without washing my hair. It looked like I had Brill cream or grease in my hair, but it was all natural oil due to years from never having washed it. One day when I was 16, I visited a friend's house. My friend's mother, Mrs. Hayworth, a strong character, took one look at me and asked me, when was the last time I had washed my hair? I replied, I could not remember. She immediately brought me into the bathroom. Next, she had me bend down next to the bathtub spigot. She then made sure the water coming out of the tap was a lukewarm temperature. She then placed my head under the tap, soaked it, and then applied shampoo. She scrubbed my hair and scalp thoroughly. After she had finished, she gave me a towel. When my hair dried, it was light and puffy. I had never seen it look that way before. I learned a great lesson that day. I still owe Mrs. Hayworth a debt of gratitude. P.S. Mrs. Hayworth was the first person I ever met who was not shy to tell people she was a practicing witch. What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? Two students who were not much into studies planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers. They stood by the top of the stairs between periods waiting for the math teacher to pass, and when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind while the other put his leg out to trap him. We all heard the scream and came out of our classes to see what happened. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. We ran towards the teacher to pick him up and help him while the two kids were watching us from top of the stairs. The kids were called to the principal's office, and when asked why did they do that, the kids reasoning because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class and he wanted to revenge. Both of them were 15 years old, so they didn't get jail time. They both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range. They literally ruined his life, but weren't punished more severely. We all felt bad for the teacher.
People that worked for a dating company. What's the most insane behind-the-scenes fact you found out? I used to work for some dating company I can't name as a content creator. And by that, I mean it was me who replied to messages from users. I used to get paid for message with bonuses for hitting certain message amounts. It was mostly horny guys who just wanted to chat and get off. But I met some interesting people. A guy in his 60s whose wife had died a few weeks prior. Hadn't had sex in years. Needed a release. Spoke at length with how he had picked me because I looked like his dead wife in her prime. A lot of guys who would agree to whatever weird fetish I dreamed up on that day. Horny people be horny. A lot of pedo. It was pretty scary what people would admit to with enough pushing. It all came to an end for me when a guy told me his dad had died that morning and he wouldn't be around for a while. I got review for my reply, which was, I'm really sorry for your loss. If you need to talk, I'll be here for you. They suggested that I should have replied, do you not care about me? I have needs to just realize that the site owners really just didn't care at all.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen happen at a friend's house that they thought was normal? When I was in about first grade, my best friend at the time had a lot of temper tantrums. We were having a sleepover, and I fell asleep in her bedroom in the middle of the night. I woke up in a different bed with her father. I was so confused, but he explained that she had a temper tantrum, and her mom went to sleep in her bed with her. So they moved me to the guest room. I was young and didn't understand. That's not normal, that he was sleeping in the same bed as me, just him and me. I told my parents when I went home the next day, and they were extremely concerned, asking me if he touched me, etc. I was highly confused because my pure, innocent mind didn't understand the concept of that low. Now, as an adult, I'm like, why didn't they just move me to the other room? Why did the dad have to get in bed with me? 3 women died and found themselves standing at the pearly gates. St. Peter said to the first woman, how many men did you sleep with in life? The first woman said, I only slept with one man, my husband, and I didn't sleep with him until after we were married. St. Peter turned to the angel standing next to him and said, give her the key to the silver room. The angel gave the woman a silver key, and the woman went into heaven with the key. Then St. Peter said to the second woman, how many men did you sleep with in life? I remained a virgin my whole life, for I was a nun, and I devoted my life to God. St. Peter turned to the angel and said, give her the key to the golden room. The angel gave the woman a golden key, and the woman went into heaven with the key. Then St. Peter said to the third woman, how many men did you sleep with in life? I slept with 13 men before I started dating my husband, 35 men while we were dating, 49 men while we were engaged, 56 men while we were married, and 28 men after he died. St. Peter turned to the angel and said, give her the key to my room.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.